Cars in GTA 5 can get pretty damn expensive, and some of them are really nice. But there's also a ton of other cars in this game that don't cost that much money and are also really nice. So in today's video, we're going to be going over some really awesome cars you could buy for under $100,000 in GTA 5 Online. I hope you guys do go on to enjoy the video. If you do, be sure to smash a thumbs up on it, subscribe if you're new, and let's get into it. First up is the Kuruma. If you guys unlock the trade price for this vehicle, it's only $95,000. And when you customize it, it turns into an absolutely stunning car. It's based off of an Evo X in real life. The only downside is there isn't too many customizations you can actually do to the vehicle. But with the customizations that we have, it makes the vehicle look really nice. Out of all the sports cars in the game, the Kuruma has the 53rd best handling, traction, and agility, and the 55th best acceleration. So it's definitely not the best performance car, but it looks really awesome, especially with this pure black paint job and those black light neon underglow on it. It looks really proper, and for only 95 grand, it's definitely a steal. Next up is the Banshee. It's just a smidge over $100,000, but when you upgrade it, it looks really cool. Now this car actually isn't that terrible. It has a top speed of 117 miles per hour. It has the 25th best acceleration out of all of the sports cars in the game, and in terms of its handling, it has the 62nd best handling, traction, and agility out of all the other sports cars. But honestly, that doesn't mean it's bad. It means it's pretty decent at drifting, and it actually is. It's really good. Same with the 900R version, which obviously is a lot more, but then you can upgrade this car at Benny's if you wanted to in the future and make it look really awesome. But even if you don't, you only spend the 105 grand to actually purchase the vehicle, and you just upgrade it however you want. It looks really proper. I just wish there was a few more customizations we could do to the front end. As of right now, we only have two, which is stock and then adding a carbon bumper to it, which just looks really ugly. So if we had some more front end customizations, that would be pretty awesome, but the car is really cool. Next up, we got the Elegy Rh8. This car is technically free if you join a crew in GTA 5, and if you don't, it's $95,000, but the car is pretty awesome. It has a top speed of 119 miles per hour. In terms of the other sports cars in the game, it has the 34th best acceleration out of all the sports cars, and the 17th best handling, traction, and agility out of all the sports cars. That's pretty awesome. Considering you can get this car for free, it's definitely a steal. Now, most of you guys probably do already have the vehicle, or you're just like, who cares about it because it's free. But honestly, it's actually a pretty proper looking car, got lots of cool upgrades you could put on it, and honestly, it's a GTR. It looks really nice, but it would be awesome to have a remastered version in the future. Next up is the Paragon R Armored. This car is also free for everybody, which is awesome. It has a top speed of 121 miles per hour. It has the 21st best handling, traction, and agility out of all the sports cars in the game, and the 42nd best acceleration out of all the sports cars, which is pretty decent, but who really cares about performance with this vehicle? It's pretty damn cool. It's got some awesome customizations and liveries, and it also has machine guns on it, and it comes stock. You get this car for free by completing the contact missions from Miss Baker at the casino. It's definitely worth it because it's an armored vehicle, it can take more than one homing missile, and it's got lots of cool customizations. What more do you want from a car that you can get for free? Next up, we got the Sentinel XS. The stats don't really matter too much for this vehicle because you'd probably never use it in a race since it's a coupe, and that's not really a class we use for racing. But it's only 60 grand and has a top speed of 117 miles per hour, and it looks awesome. It's got lots of cool upgrades, and you can actually find this vehicle sitting on the street fully maxed out at a certain time during the night, which is really awesome. I believe it comes in a blue and a lime green, but honestly, who really cares about the color? It comes fully upgraded. So you guys don't really need to spend any money except on the engine, transmission, and the armor. Maybe throw a turbo on there and there you go. You got an amazing car, and you're probably going to spend less than 100 grand total upgrading it, and you can also find it on the street for free. That's pretty awesome. Next up is the Baller and the Baller 2. You can buy the Baller 2 for 90 grand and find the regular Baller for free on the street, which is awesome. And the only reason why I think you guys should buy one is because 1, they're dirt cheap, and 2, they look awesome blacked out, and I think everybody needs some kind of like secret agent vehicle that is just fully blacked out. Honestly, the Range Rovers look super proper when they're blacked out. Even if you put the paint in white, they just look really, really nice, and they're really cheap, and you don't need to get the most expensive ones either because they all look the same. Next up is the Penumbra, not the FF, just the regular version, and it only costs 24 grand, and you could find it on the streets as well. It's a pretty awesome car, and back in the day, this used to be classified as one of the tuner cars we had in GTA 5, alongside other cars like the Karen Futo. And it's honestly a pretty nice looking car, but it only suits people that like the overall body style of this vehicle. Some people may not like it at all, and other people may love it. Honestly, I think it's a pretty cool looking car. It has lots of awesome upgrades you could put on it, and you can make it look really, really proper, which is awesome. I think it's a pretty nice looking car, and for 25 grand, it's definitely a pretty good deal. Next up is the Serrano. It has the 38th best handling out of all of the sports cars in the game, and it also has the 20th best acceleration. That's pretty decent. It does cost a little bit more than 100 grand. It's $110,000, but it's pretty awesome. It also has a top speed of 121 miles per hour. It used to be the OG sports car back in the day, and honestly, I still think it's pretty cool. It's not a crazy car in terms of upgrades, but it looks really, really nice. And if you can look past the convertible, honestly, you'll really enjoy the car. It doesn't even look that bad with the roof up. Personally, I don't like convertibles that much, but this car does not look that bad at all, especially if you match the paint to match the mesh roof, I guess, on this vehicle. But driving with the top down is a lot more fun. The car is definitely really proper, and for just over 100 grand, it's worth every penny. Next up, we have the 9F. Now, this car is actually pretty decent as well. It has the 49th best acceleration and the 46th best handling out of all the sports cars in the game. It's pretty average in that sense, and it also has a top speed of 119 miles per hour, which is pretty decent. The cost is a little over 100k. It's $120,000 for the regular version, which I think looks awesome, and the Cabrio version is another 10 grand, which I wouldn't suggest buying. It looks pretty ugly. The car itself, though, is actually a really, really nice looking car. There are a few downsides, barely any cosmetic upgrades you can put on it, and also it looks really, really outdated, but it still looks really, really cool. It would be awesome if Rockstar did add a newer version, but for right now, what we got is still pretty awesome, and for only 120k, it's definitely worth it. Next up is the Comet. It has the 30th best handling out of all the sports cars in the game and the 23rd best acceleration. Now, it's not the newest version of the Comet, obviously the Comet SR, but the regular Comet is still pretty awesome. It's got some really cool upgrades, and if you put the right customizations on it, you'll definitely have a car that'll turn some heads. The performance isn't immaculate, but it's also not the worst in the game. It's definitely above average, and it also has a top speed of 119 miles per hour, which is pretty decent. And only for $100,000, it's definitely worth it instead of spending another $1 million to get the Comet SR when you're pretty much getting the same thing, but the other version just performs a tiny bit better. Well guys, that's going to wrap up this video for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to smash a thumbs up on it. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. And with that said, I will catch you guys in the next video.